In this video, I'll show you how to create this responsive portfolio website using HTML, CSS, and just a little bit of JavaScript. I will provide you the starting files and we will go part by part. The first part that we are going to create is this header. And if I scroll down a little bit, you can see that it has the glass effect. And the next part is going to be this home section with some cool hover effects and social media links. And the next one is going to be the About section. Next one, Services. And finally, the contact form and a footer. And if I click on this logo, it will take me back to the home page. And also, we're going to make this website responsive by using only one breakpoint, which is going to be 1024 pixels. And as you can see, every section is going to be responsive. The About section, the cards, and the contact form. And also, we're going to have this navigation menu, which is why we are going to be using a little bit of JavaScript. So let's get into it. Before we start, let me walk you through this starting files, which you can find the link in the description. We have this image. We have a index.html file. I changed the title to portfolio website, linked the style sheet, and I also have a link to Box Icons website because we are going to be using a couple of icons, and also a link to the JavaScript file. Inside the CSS file, I reset the margin and padding, set the box sizing to border box, delete the text decoration, border and outline, and also set the scroll behavior to smooth, and this basically creates that smooth transition between the sections. And font family is set to Poppins. You can change this if you like to. And then I set the font size of every HTML element to 60% of the default font size of the browser. And also delete all the horizontal overflows. And finally, we have some variables. We are going to be using a lot of colors, so it is necessary to create variables. We have a background color, a second background color, text color, and this main green color. And the JavaScript file is empty for now. As I said earlier, we are going to be using a little bit of JavaScript for the navigation menu when we create the responsiveness. So I close this off for now. Let's go back into the HTML file. Don't forget to open this HTML file on the browser using Open with Live Server. So as I mentioned earlier, we are going to be creating this website part by part, and we can start with the first part, which is going to be a header. I will create a header with the class name header, and for the logo, I will use a anchor tag, and this is going to be linked to the home section, which we are going to create right after this header. Let's give it a class as well. And you can use your own information for this website. I will be using some made up information. And we will be using span to change the color of this text. And right under this anchor tag, I will create a menu icon using box icons, but I won't be browsing inside the box icons website. I will just type down the class name. I will create a I element with the class of bx-menu, and this is going to create a menu icon. Let's also give it a ID. And right under this icon, I will create a nav element with the class of navbar. And inside this, we will have a couple of anchor tags. The first one is going to be linked to the home section. Second one is going to be about. Third one is going to be services. And the final one is going to be contact. And this is it with the HTML of the header section. We can style it now. As you can see, the icon and the text looks like this. Before I style the header, I will select the body and change the background color. We will be using these variables, so we will use the background color. And for the text color, I will use text color. Let's select the header. So I want this header to stay at the top when you scroll. So I will set it to position fixed. And let's set the width to 100%. Top 0, left 0. And I will have some padding, 4 rem and 12%. So we have 4 rem of space at the top and the bottom, and 12% on the sides. And we will be using this 12% padding on the sides for the sections as well. So when we finish, everything is going to be aligned. Let's set the background color to this transparent color, 0.3. And for the glass effect, I will use a backdrop filter, which is going to be blur. 10 pixel will be enough. And let's place the items inside by making this a flex container. And using justify content space between, we will put all the available space between the items. And let's align them horizontally using align item center. And I will set the Z index to a really high number just to make sure that this header stays on top of everything else in the page. And let's select the menu icon. I will style this, make it bigger, set the color to this green color, and I will make it invisible because we're not going to be doing anything with it. We're gonna need this icon when we set the responsiveness, so we don't need it to be visible for now. I will select the logo and set the font size to 3 rem, change the color to white, increase the font weight to 800, cursor is going to be pointer, and this will indicate that this is something clickable, and it is actually something clickable. When you click on this logo, it will take you back to the home page. And for the hover effects, let's create a transition. When you hover over this logo, we will make it just a bit bigger using transform scale 1.1. And also, let's change the color of the text inside the span. Let's select the navbar and all of its anchor tags. Increase the font size to 0.8. Set the color to white. And I will put some space between these anchor tags using margin left. Increase the font weight to 500. And I will create a underline effect. And to be able to create that, first I need to create a border bottom, which is going to be transparent for now. And let's add some transition for the hover effect. And when you hover over those anchor tags, this transparent border is going to be a green border. And text color is going to be green as well. We are done with the styling of the header. Now let's see how it looks. Everything is in the right place and the hover effects are working fine. Now we can go to the next part. The next part is going to be the home section. So right under this header, I will create a section with the class home and ID home. Inside this section, I will have 2 divs. The first one is going to be home content, and the second one is going to be home image. Inside this home content div, we're going to have some information. I will create a h1 with some text inside. Again, I will be using some made up information. You can put your own information right under this. Let's create a h3. And right under this h3, let's create a paragraph with some text inside. And under the paragraph, we will have the social media icons. So let's create a div with the class name of social icons. And inside, we're going to have some anchor tags. And again, I won't be browsing inside the box icons to find the icons. I will just copy and paste the class names. The first one is going to be GitHub icon. Second one is the LinkedIn icon. Third one is Instagram. And the final one is going to be Twitter. And under this social icons div, still inside the home content, I will create a button group. And inside this button group, we will have two anchor tags. The first one is going to have the class name of btn. And let's create another one. And this one is going to be linked to the contact form. Let's give it the same class. So when you click on this button, it will take you to the contact section. Inside the home image, we can put the image. And we are done with the HTML of the home section. Now we can style it. First, I will select the section and set the minimum height to 100 VH. 100 VH means 100% of the viewport height. So every section that we are going to create is going to be covering the whole page. And this is also going to apply the other sections that we are going to create as well. And I will also create a padding 10 rem and 12%, just like we did with the header. So everything is going to be aligned on the sides, and also 10 rem of space at the top and the bottom. Let's select the home. I will make this a flex container, and let's align everything in the center. So inside the home section, we basically have two items actually, which is this home content and the home image. And I will put some gap between those two items. And let's select the home content. I will make this a flex container as well, and change the flex direction to column to basically make every text inside stacked on top of each other. I will align the items on the flex end, and this will take the items to the right side. And I will also align the text on the right. Let's select the H1, make it much bigger, increase the font weight to 700. Let's have some space at the top. And I will decrease the line height to 1. Next, the H3. I will increase the font size and put some space at the top and the bottom, and 0 space on the sides. Next, I will select the paragraph, increase the font size, increase the font weight. And for the paragraph, I will increase the line height to make it easier to read. Let's select the image as well. I will set the width of this image to 32 VW, which means viewport width, and 32 means percent. So this image is going to be taking 32% of the viewport width, and border radius is going to be 50% to make this image a circle. And to create that glowing effect, I will use a box shadow 0025 green color. So these zeros are for the placing of the shadow. So if I increase this to 50, it is going to the right side. If I increase this one, it is going to the bottom. And I want this shadow to be right behind the image, so I give them 0. The third one is the spread. So if I increase this, the shadow is going to be spreading even more. We will make it 25 pixel, and we are going to make it spread even more when you hover over it. And for the hover effect, let's create a transition. And when you hover over this image, this box shadow is going to start with 25. And then we will create another one, which is going to spread to 50 pixels. And then to 100 pixels. And as you can see, the hover effect works. So let's style the social icons as well. I will select every anchor tag inside the social icons. I will make them inline items and flex containers at the same time. I will center the icons inside. Increase the font size to 3 rem. Add some padding. Background is going to be transparent and we will have a 2 pixel solid green border. And let's make them circular by using border radius 50%. And the icons are going to be green. And let's put some space around. So 3 rem of space at the top and the bottom and 0.5 on the sides. And for the hover effects, I will create a transition. And when you hover over those icons, the icon's color is going to be white. Background color is going to be green. And using transform, I will make it a little bit bigger. And using translate UI, I will make it go up by 5 pixel. When you use transform, you can chain those functions like this. And let's also have a glowing effect, just like we did with the images. And there you go. The only thing left for the home section is the buttons. Let's select the button group. I will make it a flex container to be able to put some space between them. I will select the buttons. I will make them inline block items. Add some padding to make it bigger. 1 rem to 3 rem. Background is going to be green. And I will use the same box shadow. So let's copy and paste this. Border radius is going to be 3 rem. Increase the font size to 1.8. Let's make the text color black. And for the hover effect, I will have a transparent border. Increase the font weight. And transition. And when you hover over this button, we will make it bigger. And we will have the same box shadow effect. Let's increase the spread to 50 pixel. So this styling is applied to each of the 2 buttons. And I want to change the styling of the second one. So I will target that second button by using nth of type. And I will put second inside these parentheses to select the second button. I will change its background color to black, text color to green, border to green, and let's have a transparent box shadow. And when you hover over it, the box shadow is going to be the same green box shadow. And background color is going to be main color. And text color is going to be black. And we are done with the home section. The hover effects are working fine. And we can go to the next part. Just like we did with the home section, I will create a section with the class name about and ID about. Inside, I will create a div named about image, and I will put the same image inside. Under this div, I will have another one, which is going to be about content. Inside this about content, at the top, let's create a h2 about me. So this text is going to be green because we set the span to green. Under this h2, let's create a paragraph with some text inside. And under the paragraph, I will create an anchor tag with the class name of btn. So I use the same class as the other buttons. And this styling is going to get applied to this button as well. So we don't have to style it once more. And that is all with the about section. Now we can style it. I will select the about, make it a flex container. I will center everything. I will put some space between the 2 items, which is the about image and about content. I will set the background color to second background color. I will select the about image. I will set the width to 32 viewport width, just like I did with the first image. Border radius 50% to make it circular. The same box shadow. And transition for the hover effect. And when you hover over it, we will be using the same hover effect as the other image. So I will just copy and paste this one. Let's select the H2, increase the font size to 7 rem, and align the text on the left. Let's select the paragraph, increase the font size, and I will select the button inside the about content and put some space at the top and the bottom. And this is it with the styling of the about section. Before we go to the next part, there is one more thing we need to do, which is to style this scroll bar, because now that we have two sections, we can scroll down and we can see the scroll bar. So I won't be explaining the scroll bar styling. I already have a video about it. You can click on the card and watch it. I will select the scroll bar and set the width to 20 pixels. I will select the thumb and I will set it to this green color. And the track is going to be the background color. And here is the about section with the scroll bar. We have the same effect and the same button. And now we can go to the next part. The next part is going to be the services section. And we are going to be creating the same section, just like we did with the others. I will create a section with the class name services and ID services. Let's create a H2 with the class name heading. Let's say services. And under this services, I will create a services container, which is going to contain the cards. And I will create 3 cards. The class name is going to be service box. And we're going to create 2 more. Let's create the information inside the first one. I will create another div to put the information inside. I will have an icon at the top, which is going to be this devices icon. Right under this, I will create a H4. And after that, let's create a text. And we are basically going to have 2 more of this box. So let's copy and paste this. I will change the icon and change the H4. Let's create another one. I will change the icon again and change the text. And this is it with the HTML of the services section. Now let's style it. First, I will select the heading and center it in the middle. I will increase the font size to 7 rem and put some space at the top and the bottom. Let's select the services, change the background color to background color, and I will make the text color black. Let's select the H2 and make the text white. And the services container, which has the cards inside, I will be using grid this time. And there's going to be a little trick that we are going to use to make these cards responsive without using any media queries. So I will create some columns using repeat, and I will use autofit. So this is basically going to automatically fit the cards inside this container depending on how much space inside. And to decide how much space those cards are going to take, I will use min-max function. This function takes 2 arguments, the minimum size and the maximum size. So the cards are going to be at least 300 pixels wide and 1 fraction of space at the max. Let's align the items horizontally and put some gap between them. Now let's style the cards by selecting service box. I will make it a flex container, justify content center, align item center to center everything, and background color is going to be green. I will set the height of the cards to 600 pixels, border radius 3rem to add curvature, cursor pointer, and for the hover effect, I will create a transparent border with the transition. And when you hover over it, the background is going to be second background color, text color is going to be green, and the transparent border is going to be a green border. And let's also make it a little bit bigger using scale. And let's also select the information section, make it a flex container as well, change the flex direction to column to put the text on top of each other, align everything in the center. And let's add some padding around the text. And inside the service info, first I will select the icon and make it a lot bigger. And let's select the H4, make it a lot bigger, and put some space at the top and the bottom. Increase the font weight to 800. And finally, the paragraph, make it bigger, increase the font weight, and increase the line height to make it easier to read. And this is going to be font size, not font weight. And there you go. The hover effect works, everything is in the right place. And we can go to the next part. The next one is going to be contact section. I will create a section with the class name contact and ID contact. I will have a heading at the top saying contact. And right under this H2, I will create a form. Inside this form, we will have two input groups. The first one is going to be input group, and the second one is going to be input group 2. Inside the first one, I will create two input boxes. The first one is going to have two inputs. The first one is going to be a text, and the placeholder is going to be full name. And the second one is going to be a email, placeholder email. And inside the second one, I will create another input and type number, placeholder phone number. Second one is going to be text and placeholder is going to be subject. And inside the input group 2, I will create a text area with the placeholder your message. Under this text area, I will create a input, and this one is going to be a submit. And the value is going to be send message, and the class name is going to be btn. So by giving it the class name btn, we basically apply the button styling to this input. And this is it with the form section. Before we style it, let's also create the footer as well and complete the HTML. Right under this section, I will create a footer with the class name footer, and inside I will copy and paste the social icons, this one, copy this div and paste it inside the footer, and under this div we will create a unordered list with the class name list. Inside we will have a couple of list items with some anchor tags inside. First one, frequently asked questions. Second one is going to be services, and we will link this to the services section. And when you click on this, it will take you back to the services section. This one is going to be about. And the final one is going to be contact. Under this unordered list, I will create a paragraph with the class name copyright, and we will put some copyright text inside. And we completed the HTML. The only thing left is to style the contact form, the footer, And finally, set the responsiveness. First, I will select the contact section and change the background color to second background color. I will select the H2, create some space at the bottom, and text color to white. I will select the form, make it a flex container, align everything inside the center, put some gap between the items, and create some space at the top and the bottom, and also align the text in the center. And I will select the contact form, the input boxes, and I will select the inputs inside. And also I will select the text area as well. And I will set every element's width to 100%. Add some padding, 2.5 rem on each side. I will increase the font size to 1.8 rem. Text color is going to be white. Background color, and add some curvature using border radius. And let's create a green border as well. And to create space between them, I will use margin 1.5. And this is how the contact form looks. But we have a little issue with this text area. If you take a look at this corner, you will see that you can adjust the size of this text area. And this is a problem because it basically breaks the layout. And we can fix this by using resize none. And now I cannot adjust the size anymore. And the next one to style is the footer. I will select the footer, set the background color to background color, add some padding at the top and the bottom. I will align the social icons in the center using text align center. And I will select the unordered list, align the text in the center and increase the font size. I will select the list items. I will make them inline block items and put some space between them using margin left. And let's select the anchor tags. Text color is going to be white. And for the hover effect, I will create a transparent border. And when you hover over it, it is going to be green. And there's only one thing left, which is the copyright text. I will align the text in the center, put some space at the top, and increase the font size to 16 pixels. And there you go. This is how the footer looks. And we are basically completed the page. Only thing left is to create the responsiveness, but before that, let's see how it looks. Here is the home page. If I click on the About page, it will take me to the About section. Let's click on the services and the contact form. And here is the footer. And if I click on the logo, it will take me back to the home section. So everything looks right. Let's create the responsiveness. So as I mentioned earlier, we're going to have only one breakpoint, which is going to be 1024 pixels. The first thing that we are going to do is to make the menu icon visible by making it display block. And to create the responsive navigation bar, I will select the navbar. I will set its position to absolute. I will make it stick to the top and to the right. I will set the width to 50%, so it is going to take the 50% of the available space. Add some padding, 1 rem at the top and the bottom, and 3 rem on the sides. And I will give it a transparent background. Let's make it 0.8. And I will add a border to the left and to the bottom. And let's also create a border radius for the bottom left. So inside this navbar, I will select the anchor tags and make them block level items. Increase the font size and put some space between them. And I will make the text color white. And this is how the menu looks. For now, I will make it invisible. And I will add a active class to this navbar. And when the navbar gets the class of active, we will make it display block. And we're going to give it the class of active using JavaScript later. Next, let's select the home. I will change the flex direction to column reverse. I will put some space at the top and the bottom. And I will decrease the gap between the two items inside home. I will select the home content, align items on the center and text on the center. And I will select the image and make it a lot bigger. And we're going to do the same thing with the about section as well. Let's select the about section and change the flex direction to column reverse and align the text in the center. And the H2 as well, align it in the center and put some space at the top and the bottom. And this is how it looks. Let's also make that image a lot bigger. And the services section, as you can see, it is already responsive and we don't have to do anything to it because we used AutoFit. It is basically automatically fits the cards. And finally, the contact form. I will select it and change the flex direction to column. And we are done with the responsiveness as well. The only thing left is to create the JavaScript. So by using JavaScript, first we will change this menu icon to a X icon. And then we will target the navbar and add a active class to it to make this apply to the navbar. So first I will create a variable named menu icon, and by using query selector I will put the menu icon inside this variable, and I will create another one which is navbar, and using query selector again I will put the navbar inside this variable. For the menu icon I will create a onClick function which is going to be executed when you click on it. And as I mentioned a second ago, we will change the menu icon to a X icon, which is going to be bx-x. So this is a class name from box icons, which is a X icon. So when you click on this menu icon, it is going to turn into this X icon, and the navbar is going to get the class of active. And when it gets the class of active, this styling is going to get applied and we will see a drop down menu. So let's see if it's working fine. And there you go. When I click on the icon, it turns into this X icon and we can see the navigation menu and we can browse around the website. And this is how we can create a responsive portfolio website using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for your time, and I will see you next time.